Moving from entrepreneurship into a corporate space is oftentimes challenging for people because that entrepreneurial spirit that you have isn't easily recognizable by your new organization. In this episode with Kayla Childress, we chat about how she went from being a 10-year entrepreneur to stepping into the director of sales at Nature Ridge. In this episode, we chat about believing in yourself and understanding the reason why you were put on this earth, the things that you were created to do. So get out your notepad and be ready to take lots of notes. So, Kayla, tell us, how did you start your career and how did you get to where you are today?
Goodness, such a great question. I have been in the beauty industry since I could tie my shoes. So nearly 40 years. So I always say the industry picked me to be in it. I feel like beauty is in my DNA. I started my career on the operations side, managing salons and spas, um, and fell in love with it from there. But I really kind of transitioned out of that to the brand side in the late 90s, and really just kind of climbed the ranks from the late 90s with different brands, working in multiple roles from regional positions to VP, etc. And then from, there, I think the natural progression for anybody that's been in a career for a really long time is to go out on their own. So I decided to do that and created my company, Mindful Luxury. Had that company for about 9, 10 years. And, COVID hit. And for like most of us with, COVID, a lot of us small business owners just really struggled. And, I got to this place of, do I want to continue struggling or do I want to venture, into looking for another opportunity? And, I pulled my big girl panties up and I said, it's time. So I started looking for an opportunity late 2023 into 2024, and Nature Rich Labs was looking for a director of sales, and they're in contract manufacturing, and it was just kind of a match made in beauty heaven, and I've been here ever since, a little over a year now.
So you did something that a lot of people think is taboo or may not do. By you took a step, you went out on your own, and then you said, "Okay, now I'm going to step back into the corporate realm."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for all of the people who have that inkling of, "I want to step out, but I'm not sure if I want to," what are
Yeah.
some of the lessons that you feel like you learned going out on your own and then stepping back into corporate?
Absolutely. For those 10 years, I can say you wear so many hats. You're everything. You are the face of the brand. You are accounting. You're the president. You are invoice chasing. You are a lawyer. You're everything. And, you know, I learned quickly, although I loved the time I had, I did learn early on that, there were certain things that I just did not want to do. And I think the advice I would give anyone is, farm out the things that you don't like or you're not good at, but also give yourself grace. If you find year 1 or 9 into owning your business and it just feels like it's a struggle every day and you're not passionate about doing it, it's time to look for something else. And I think what I manifested during that time was, okay, the perfect fit has to be there. Someone has to take a chance on me being, out of the corporate world for 10 years, but respecting the fact that I was an entrepreneur. So,
Mm.
I was like, this is going to be great or it's not going to be great. And thankfully, I found the right fit for me, and work for really kind people that respect my entrepreneurship and aren't micromanagers and just a wonderful group of people to work with. So it's been good for me.
That's awesome. So you
Yeah.
said you've been in the beauty industry since you could tie your shoes. What changes have you seen over the past decade?
You know, It has changed at lightning speed in the last decade. You know, you could go to Sephora 10 years ago and probably see a handful, maybe a couple of dozen of standout brands. And 10 years, you know, fast forward 10 years and you can barely keep up. There's about 12,000 new brands launching every year. And so, I go into Ulta and Sephora just about weekly because there's something new. So I feel like it has just grown exponentially. And I love seeing it. Indie brands starting, with a dream, and you're now seeing them at Sephora or Ulta. So I also think that the consumer has become highly intelligent. We've got so many things at our fingertips, not only Google now, but we have AI, and I think consumers have really become hyper focused and intelligent on what they're buying.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so, as a contract manufacturer, has is this growth a positive for you, or is it a drawback? Which side of the growth do you guys sit on?
I think it's both, really. You can't keep up in contract manufacturing. That there's this, everything is at lightning speed. So we're in hyper growth mode right now. And so it's great because you're getting the business, but then internally you're trying to figure it out. And
Mhm.
so, I think it's really both good and bad.
Yeah.
But, I love that I'm working for a company that everything is figure outable too.
Yeah. Nice
So,
and agile. It definitely helps when
yeah.
your company is agile enough to shift and pivot on a dime, but you still know that you have the strong manufacturing and expertise behind you to
Right.
execute in excellence.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you think about your career journey through entrepreneurship, being in corporate and coming back, what is the hardest challenge that you feel like you've ever had to overcome?
Oh, goodness. I think it's really very personal for me. I think it was the ego.
Ooh.
So there is this perception of being an entrepreneur and owning your own business of rainbows and sprinkles.
Yeah.
And you've made it. You are something that a lot of people want to be out there.
Mhm.
And so it was letting go of the ego. The only person that cared about the transition that I made was me.
Ah,
Nobody else cared.
yeah.
No, when I would tell friends or colleagues, I'm hanging up my entrepreneurial hat and I'm going to go, get a job, they were like, good for you. Whatever makes you happy. So glad to hear it.
Yeah.
So it was the ego letting go.
So, what are some things that you did to work through that? I feel that I have a client, and one of the things that she told me was that her sales leader has a really big ego, and that ego is preventing the sales leader from executing because they're not open to listening to other ideas or other things. So, what are some of the things that you did to overcome that ego?
I marinated a lot in myself, and it was a lot of internal chatter, of what does this really mean, and what is keeping you from moving on and becoming a better version of you. So I think a lot of it was just having conversations with myself, talking to industry friends and kind of getting their um, opinions, and really them being cheerleaders for me.
Yeah.
Um, and just, having lots of conversations with God and the universe.
Yeah.
It was really, yes, my friends, my family, all the external parts of that were great, but at the end of the day, it was me having to really talk myself into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I think self-work is something that a lot of people kind of minimize, right? Like we
yeah.
strive for success, we do more, we learn more, we'll even go to
Yeah.
therapy or lean
Yeah.
on whatever, God or whoever the power within our life is. But it's, what are you telling yourself? How are you getting out of this place that you feel stuck in? And I often tell myself, I'm not stuck unless I stop, right? The only
Absolutely.
way that I get stuck, the only way I'm not continuing to move, to grow, to do is if I stop. So just the one
Right.
step, the small step
Yeah.
ahead helps me move forward.
I feel like sometimes in the times of difficulty, we cannot see past it.
Yeah.
So I also kept telling myself, letting go of my business may surprise me.
Mm.
There might be something so much better on the other side. And
Mhm.
I'm continuing to water the grass, so to speak, and
Mhm.
grow and learn. And here I sit. I've never worked in contract manufacturing, although I've been in the beauty industry for 40 years. I've never done this. And I feel like I've had this aha moment of see what you did.
Yes.
You let go of something that was really causing you a lot of pain
Ooh.
to gain something that now brings you passion and joy.
Mm.
Huh. So, I'm always telling people, look, I know it feels hard, whatever you're going through, or I'm telling my daughter, I know this breakup feels bad,
Yeah.
but God and the universe are putting you here to learn a lesson,
Mm.
one, and two, there's probably something better on the other side. You just can't see it.
Yes, there's always something on better on the other side. And I think
Mhm.
that another, I'm full of, people call them Wesleyne wisdoms, but these little antidotes. And another one that I say often is a valley is in between two mountains. So you were on a mountaintop before and you'll be on one again, right? Like, and so our job is to work through our valley seasons, to go through the hard, do the work. Because if you don't do the
Yeah,
work in the valley, that mountain gets further and further and further away. But like, stay rooted in
absolutely.
that place. And then when you get to the mountaintop, you will appreciate it more. So you talked about your daughter, bad relationship. The next one is going to be better if you do the work and
Right.
learn and step into it. A bad position that you're in, a hard customer that you have, whatever the thing is, if you just stay there, do the work, you will come out better on the other side.
Agree. 1,000%. Love the Wesley wisdoms.
So now tell us a little bit about how your team is structured.
So, I'm the director of sales. I have an onboarding manager that supports me with all new clients. She's absolutely amazing. Her name is Darcy. She's most days my right and left hand. So, we work together on the onboarding phase of a client.
Mm,
In contract manufacturing, especially in our world, it's very unique. There are so many steps that we go through to get to the PO.
mm,
And so once we, get to a certain place with a client, that's where we bring in a project manager. So we have about 5, 6 project managers that handle all of the technical minutia
mm.
of the project. And so it takes quite a bit to get a bottle of goop on the shelf. It would amaze you. So, a lot of steps that we go through to get there.
And so, a lot of times, what I see in the field sales world and manufacturing is you have to be, I like to call it a full cycle sales in terms of your hunting. You have to bring that technical expertise. You have to make sure that the client gets whatever we promised they would deliver. And so, in your role, it seems like that is kind of what you are. You're like the glue, the nucleus that pulls all the pieces together.
Absolutely. Even though our client goes to a project manager, I still stay involved. That relationship for me is of utmost importance. My project managers are rock stars. However, you know, having a sales mindset and being on a call, even if it's an ops call, you're still pulling out these little nuggets of sales, like, oh, did you notice that PO? They said that it was for Amazon and Target, but we got it and there's no Amazon. We need to go and relook at that PO. So
Mm.
I love to stay involved. Really to make sure that the sales aspect of the client is happening.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I like to say, when somebody signs a contract or when you get the first PO, that's really when the relationship begins, right? And
Mhm.
oftentimes in sales, it's like, oh, I'm done. I'm handing it off to the internal team. I'm handing it off to whoever, and I'm gonna go find the next
No.
thing. But really staying involved and holding that customer's hand, especially when you're in a business where the lifetime customer value is more than just the first order, right? It's what they
Absolutely.
get throughout the life cycle of this relationship with you.
Yep. I feel like partnership and relationship go hand in hand. And being in the industry for as long as I've been in it, a lot of these relationships that I've brought to the table for Nature Rich Labs have been relationships I've had for 20 and 30 years.
Mm.
So, and there's a reason, that we have, in sales, well, some salespeople aren't great, but there's those of us that have maintained those relationships, and those are really, it's why I'm here today. It's everything for me. It's hard to even put words on it because it means so much to me, and there's not this one size fits all. I get asked quite often, like, what does it take to be a great salesperson? How do you manage your relationships? I'm like, goodness, I could write a book.
Yeah.
There's many different ways of staying connected with people and making sure you're building those relationships. So
So I know it's hard to put it in a nice little bow in a little packet, but give us some of your cheat codes. What are some of the things that you've done to maintain relationships through the decades?
I think there's, 10 years ago versus now, I think now it has become really an exciting part of, my journey, all the ways that you can stay connected. Before it was a telephone call, maybe an email, and that always felt a little robotic. Nowadays, we have text. We have LinkedIn, we have trade shows, we have all of these things that are just our disposal, and it's really maintaining, that list of relationships. Maybe it's an Excel spreadsheet or whatever you want to, wherever you want to put it, and that you're doing the work. Every single day, I make time for reaching out and continuing to build that relationship. Right now, we have the largest trade show of the year coming up in a week and a half. And I'm reaching out to people that I probably haven't seen in a couple of years to see if they're going to be there. And so, again, it's not a one size fits all, it's whatever works for you.
Mm-hmm.
But carving out time every single day,
Mm-hmm.
I think, is probably the biggest piece of advice I can
Mm.
give someone.
Time. Yes. Time is the
Time, time,
currency.
time. Yep.
Yes. And it's like you have to make time to build relationships, right? Like if you want to have a good marriage, you need to invest time. If you want your kids
Absolutely.
to be emotionally healthy and secure, you
Yep.
got to make time to hang out with them. And I think it's the same thing in sales. There is especially in a very technical sale, a lot of times people lean on the technical aspect of what we do, the how we do it, and they don't
Yeah.
think about that human element. And the
Right.
human element is so important because, as I like to say, I'm a human and you're a human. And so I want to buy from another human. I don't want to buy from a
Right.
robot. I don't want to
Right.
buy from a screen. So I need to see you. I need to understand
Yeah.
what values you have, what things are important to you.
Absolutely. And I think I always like to say I want to be interested versus interesting.
Mm.
So I try to start whether it's a Zoom call, or a phone call. Tell me about you.
Yeah.
What's going on in your world? Tell
Mm,
me about your vision for this project. Like, really just getting them talking, and
mm,
not, it's not about like all about me and my journey and all about the company. Like, I don't want to barf on someone, I want them to barf on me. So really get them talking and be interested instead of interesting.
that's so good. It's the listen more than you speak, two ears, one
Yep.
mouth, right? And
Ab-
when you allow somebody to talk, it builds that level of connection because they feel like they can flow with you. And if they feel like they can
right.
flow with you and they can meet you where that you are, like it just really helps to build that connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, this year that we're currently sitting in has been an up and down year for a lot of people in manufacturing. For some, it's been great. For some, it's been not so great. I haven't seen too
Yeah.
many people that are right in the middle. For you guys within your organization, has it been a year of tremendous growth? Has it been a down
Yeah.
year? How are things sitting for you guys?
So we're in a really interesting position. So our company has been in business almost 25 years, and I am their first salesperson.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which
Wow.
speaks volumes to them. They have built their business through referral and word of mouth. Incredible. So I don't think either of us had any idea of what we could do together in this year.
Mm.
So we are in absolutely explosive growth.
That's awesome. That's awesome to
Yes.
know that for, I guess, what, almost 23 years, there was not a
Mhm.
person devoted to sales, and
Yeah.
then bringing you in. And it now makes a lot more sense as to why you are a good fit for this position, because I'm
Yeah.
assuming a lot of times in organizations like that, there's founder led growth. So
Yeah.
the founders, the CEOs were the ones selling. So they know you can do this. They've been doing
Yeah.
it themselves.
Yeah. I don't even think I knew what I was capable of, to be honest.
Mhm.
There's a very big difference in contract manufacturing, selling a service versus I was selling a brand before.
Mhm.
So selling a brand, there's thousands of them, and you are this buyer that you're pitching to sees dozens of brands every day coming at them. So it was difficult. I think that was the other reason that I lost my passion too. It was really tough trying to sell a brand to a buyer. Now I'm selling a service.
Yeah.
So everyone's, dealing with tariffs. Everyone is wanting to, cut costs, look at different contract manufacturers for different, specialties or categories that they're good at. So I just found, I find it's a lot easier.
That's awesome. Easier. Working for a company is
Yes.
easier than working on your own. Yes, yes, yes.
Absolutely. Like, I remember my first month here, and I'm like, I'm asking for a meeting and I'm getting it. What?
You're like,
This is insane.
what is
Yeah.
this? I'm not
Yeah.
running around and chasing. So
Yeah.
as you continue to grow the organization, you guys are in explosive growth.
Yeah.
What are the what where do you see the company in the next 5 years?
Yeah. So I, have so many dreams for us. Contract manufacturing is, it's always like the little ugly duckling. It's the thing in the background. Nobody talks about where they're getting their products made. And so
Yeah.
I have dreams, for us to really open up the space of podcasting and blogging and really helping the beauty world understand contract manufacturing even more, elevating the world that we're in, to a point where we're really well known within the space. You know, if I were to put if I were to look in the crystal ball, I would say in 5 years, we may have another manufacturing facility,
Mm,
um, whether it's in Dallas or it's on the West Coast or the East Coast. But that's usually what I see for contract manufacturers that are growing, is they're adding more manufacturing facilities, whether it's in the country or outside of the country. So
mm.
I'd love to see that for us too.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Growing
awesome.
our sales team, obviously, I'd love to see, more sales um, assistants, maybe having an East Coast or West Coast, or having, you know, sales team that speaks to each category. So I see that for us as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Expansion and footprint expansion and head count. Those are all amazing
Yep.
things when you're in explosive growth mode. Um,
Yep.
and so with growth, there also tends to be some things that may not be working so well. So what are some of the things
Mm.
that you found in the past few years that you're still struggling with as you're in this growth mode?
Yeah, I think, if I'm speaking specifically to Nature Rich and where we're at as a business, you know, probably our biggest challenge is just the technical part of it, and making sure that we
Mm,
have all the right tools in place to be able to support the business. So as you know, when you're in hyper growth mode, you're not always prepared for it. And so we're, figuring that out as we speak, and what tools can we introduce to help support, the team and growth. Where do we have voids within staffing? So, I think that we're doing all the right things to
mm.
really improve
Yeah. So
what we're
it's,
doing.
and I say it's the first step is realization, right? Identifying
Yeah,
where the gaps are and then leaning in and really
absolutely.
tapping into like, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, since you're very new in this role, I know this look back is, and when I ask this question, I want you to take whatever spin on it that you would like
Yeah.
to. Um, if you were going to do this all over again from scratch, what advice would you give yourself?
I have thoroughly enjoyed contract manufacturing, and I have said more than a dozen times, I wish I would have gotten into contract manufacturing
Um,
a long time ago.
mm,
However, can't change the past.
yeah,
So, I am a big believer that you go through everything in life the way you're supposed to.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So maybe I would have done that differently.
Started a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
Started a little
maybe a little
earlier.
earlier. Yeah.
Okay. And I want to kind of wrap up on this last bit. We've had a great conversation and we tapped into a lot of different areas. And so, as a woman that's in manufacturing and in sales, is there any advice that you would specifically give to a young woman that may be struggling, that may be having a tough time right now?
Oh gosh. Don't give up. Just persevere. Try as best as you can to stay positive. I have mentored people, women in my past, and trying to help them in their career. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I see is just getting frustrated instead of taking, the frustration energy and put it into something positive. Really trying to stay in that space as much as you can. I know that things get frustrating as a young person, someone starting out in the beauty space, wherever they're at. Just really try your best to take that energy and do something positive. Whether it is, connecting with people within the industry that you want, whether it's, okay, today I'm going to focus on building out my LinkedIn better.
Mm,
Um, it is LinkedIn learning, or you're doing a master class, or, you're going to lunch with a girlfriend, just something that can, you know, not have you live in that energy.
mm. That's
Yeah.
so good. Don't give up. Refocus your energy.
Right.
I think those are two really good things because
Yeah.
oftentimes I tend to see when things get hard, we as humans,
Mm.
we just want to give up. And that
Yeah.
giving up means that we typically will say, this position isn't right for me. And you hop companies. And what happens is you keep making a bunch of lateral moves. And then you
Yeah.
look back 15 years into your career and you're still at the same level because you
Yeah.
never pushed through. You never allowed yourself to get through the hard, to get through the pain, the difficulties to get to,
Yeah.
on the other side.
Agree.
Yes,
Agree.
awesome. Well, Kayla, this has been a fantastic conversation.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you.
if people want to get in contact with you, learn more about what you're doing, what is the one best way?
I would say contact me through email,
Okay.
phone. I mean, I'm so accessible. Like I always say, I am just a phone, text, email, LinkedIn connection away. So Kayla Childress, I'm on LinkedIn, Childress at naturerich.com. Happy to give out my phone number if you would like me to. But those are the two probably easiest.
Too easiest. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Kayla, for your time, your talent, and your
Thank you.
expertise.
Absolutely. Thank you.